of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Now I never been down with no OPP. I talk about selling our people's property. Don't know who doing it, so don't round me out. Don't send no police round me and tell me shush my mouth. Where's our conviction? But where's our pride? We selling everything, selling our backside. Just go online, it'll make you sick. You can buy any island, just point and click. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Hey, hey. Ride him. My mother always say, when you find a donkey, ride it. Who's the donkey? Man, come on. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what does bug me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand. But I can fix this, I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Everybody sells some every night. Giddy up, giddy up. Come on. Oh, no. Let's go. Who's the donkey again? They're selling one island. Give away one key. What can be left for you and me? Is this the example? What's our kids to do? You want them have a sense of pride or go selling too? Cause they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes man. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes, yes. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha.
Whoa, girls, we outdoing it?
started, and the other government, after all the money was spent, they threw all that money in the garbage and canceled the project. This is a nice tennis, a good size that could have helped a lot of Bahamians. It's actually on the water, right on the water with a beautiful view. Um, and so a lot of money was spent on this. They even have a big generator they spend a lot of money on. You know, people always say the government don't have money for this, government don't have money for that, but they have the money, they just squander the money. To start a project like this and just throw it in the garbage is wasted. Just look and see what we can see. Seems to be some kind of basement. So it's 1, 2, look at this. 2 or 3 stories. We'll look at that. So, see if we could get inside. So the door is open. Someone left the door open. And so a lot of work has already been done. It looked like additional work was done. Looks like electrical is in. The panels are on the wall. So this part is being renovated. TV thing on the wall. Let me see. Okay. Looks like this is being renovated. Looks like a dentist chair. The island is in desperate need of dentistry. The dentist chair sitting here in dentist equipment. So the back door is open. So it looks like work has been put into this. I mean, this is extremely big. I mean, this is the island extremely well. The plaque. There's a plaque. The Levy Medical and Health Center given by the Harrisville Company to continue the interests of Joan and Austin Levy in the health and happiness of the people of Eleuthera, land donated through the generosity of Honorable Mrs. Asa H. Pritchett, opened by His Excellency Governor General Robert Stapleton, 1965. Wow. So we got to get the full story on this. Wow. So it's pretty big, and you can see a lot of renovations have been going on, and it just stopped. All right, I think we're done.
Let me just say that I have always been a part of this community. And there's no accident I know how to do all the dancing. Because I always be and share with you. Because you are me and I am you. And I'll be here with you always. And those who knew me from the past and know me now, they always knew that I was there and always been there for you. I don't call you all, no, you all are not Haitians, Bahamians. You are Bahamian, and your origin is Haitian. Mine too, and many of us. We have to stay apart for now so we can be together later. Here on now.
Are you all ready and willing to go?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here and enjoying your Tuesday with us and coming to be informed and coming to be well informed about what's really going on in our country as we continue to travel the entire Bahamas to open the eyes of the Bahamian people of islands that have been neglected, of our islands that are being taken over, and we have to fight for this little that we have. You know, there's been a fight for a long time, you know, for the takeover of New Providence, but now it's spreading to our family of islands, and we have to stand up and fight. So thank you for being here. Wherever you are tuned in from, it is always a blessing to see you. We want to say a very special happy birthday to Mr. George Griffin. Mr. George Griffin, he is one of our executives. He celebrated his birthday on, I think it was yesterday. He celebrated his birthday, and we just want to say thank you for all of your efforts in making sure that we go into the New Bahamas. A special happy birthday to you. I hope you had lots of cake and you enjoyed your special day while we were over there in Eleuthera. So thank you so much. I want to get straight to it tonight. Welcome to all of you. You know what to do when you get on here. Share, because most of the people don't get notifications anymore. I'm followed by 35,000 persons. That's followers and the normal friends. So only about 100 persons get the notifications because they've really blocked that. So we need you to do your part and tag persons and share and make sure that this message gets out. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we had an amazing and awesome weekend in Eleuthera. It was phenomenal. To see the amount of support that we got everywhere we went. It was phenomenal. Eleutherans are truly ready. Eleutherans are ready for change. And we think that it's going to happen. And we're counting Eleuthera in the willing column. That's both north and south. Based on what we experienced, the people of Eleuthera are ready for change. And the fact of the matter is, if they sell themselves out to the politicians again for crumbs, they will continue to suffer. And so we had an amazing town hall meeting down there. And of course, you know exactly what happened. It was, of course, this petty PLP government again. And their little puppet commissioner of police, it seems, that
that would have blocked us from using the building. The building is the workers' hall, and we were of the opinion it was still owned by the union, but it is not. It is now owned by the police, and so they took our monies, and they waited until the last minute on that day, the last minute to say. First, they said that we couldn't have the meeting there because the toilets were clogged. I mean, when you're gonna lie, don't lie like children, man. I mean, they think of the dumbest lies. You know, when it's your police doing this, the persons who are responsible for keeping law and order and defending the freedom of the nation, defending democracy, they're the only persons that we have to defend democracy. The defense force has a different job. The immigration and customs have a different job. The police job is to defend democracy in this country, defend it. But when you have the police participating in these petty little partisan political gimmicks and tricks and lies, you know your country is in trouble when the police cannot be trusted. And so they called with their lies that the toilets were clogged. And so that's why we couldn't use the building. Well, we went there, and when that lie didn't work because the toilets were not clogged, they changed their story and said that, oh well, we didn't get the payment in time for us to get authorization from Nassau. We paid them weeks in advance, and when Clayton Fernanda and Philip Brave Davis would decide to do something like this, I would say that it is beyond shameful. It's beyond shameful. We need a real change in this country. We need real change, and we need it now. You see, and this is why some people were concerned with the fact that the Prime Minister of this country, the government, announced that they gave a financial settlement, a considerable financial settlement to the Commissioner of Police. They will not disclose how much it is. That causes concern for many persons, because it seems like the executive is funneling money to the police, be independent of them, and now that piece will be bought out by them. The rule of law said that we must not only be free of corruption, but also the appearance of corruption. I remember when Ellison Greenslade was leaving Grand Bahama, persons threw a party for him, and they gave him some parting gifts, including a watch. And there was a big deal over that. Ellison Greenslade was an assistant commissioner at the time, and they made a big deal over that. They said you can't take gifts or money or anything from anyone as a police. You have to be totally independent. The police, they were coming. He had to give his back. He was party and a thank you to the government comes in. That is undisclosed. If it's transparent and disclosed, that's a different story. But the fact that it's secret, it makes it concerned. We see different situations where the government seems to be using the police like puppets. The previous commissioner of police said the same thing, that he feels that he was used as a puppet, and the former prime minister made him do things that he didn't want to do. That is evidence that there's gross corruption. All right? And so we just want to say that we always have to think 10 steps ahead of this incompetent, fumbling, corrupt, criminal government. And so we had a plan B already arranged. And so we went to the Cancer Society. All right? This is how you have to operate in this so-called democracy. They are operating like a backwater dictatorship, like some Tun Makut kind of situation. I don't understand, excuse me, how they are not embarrassed by their petty actions. I also want to say that while we were leaving, we were on our way to the airport, and all of a sudden, the tire flat. We didn't hit a pothole or anything. The tire flat and started shaking violently. So we stopped, came out. I personally checked the tire. I got the tire wrench. I checked the nuts on the tire. When I put it on the first one and turned it, it was loose. So it was very easy to turn. It had already come forward a little bit, like someone had loosened it. So I checked the other nuts, I think 5 other nuts or 4. And I turned them with my hands and they were loose. Someone had loosened the nuts on the front tire of our vehicle. The intention was to kill us. Dr. Veronica MacGyver was driving. It's a good thing she had the wherewithal to just keep the wheel straight and just slow down and stop. We were headed for a hill. We were headed for a hill that had a curve, and we would have been in serious trouble. Someone came to where we were staying and loosed all, not 2 or 3, every single one of the nuts on the van that we were driving in. This is how serious these people are about keeping you poor, about keeping you down, about keeping their billions of dollars that they make every year by raping this country. Whichever member of the Progressive Liberal Party that did that, let me help you understand that what we are is an idea whose time has come. You cannot kill an idea whose time has come. This move is a God move. You cannot kill God, and you cannot kill his will. You will not stop the Bahamian people from being put first in this country. You will not stop the Bahamian people from benefiting from their natural resources. You will not stop the Bahamian people from benefiting from our carbon credits. You will not stop the Bahamian people from getting their acres of crown land. It is ours. And we are not afraid. We are going to take back everything the enemy has stolen from us. This one is not by might. It is not by power. It is not by money. This one is by something that you cannot see and you cannot understand. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the efforts of this criminal organization, this mafia-run organization called the Progressive Liberal Party, change is definitely here. By everything you see them doing to us, it can tell you that they are afraid. They're not attacking us, They are attacking you. The problem is we are the ones standing between them and you. We are the ones promoting you becoming first in this country, which is what they do not want. And so the attacks that you see coming at us is not coming at us. It is coming at you. And we pray that you wake up. Some people say, oh, this is a God move, so automatically, it's going to happen. Let me tell you something. There's another statement that was coined by Briland. It's not in the Bible, but people keep quoting it. It says, the voice of the people is the voice of God. That's not in the Bible. The people have been wrong on many occasions, even in the Bible. The people have been wrong. In fact, the majority has almost always been wrong in the Bible. Almost always. And so the people can make a choice to go 50 years forward or 50 years backwards. And they will get their choice, but they will suffer the consequences. You have to wake up and educate your family and friends. You must. They are attacking us because they are afraid of you. You see, we are not only going after their money, we're going after their power. Because we are telling you that we are taking power away from the politician and giving it back to the people. This is what they are afraid of. They are afraid of island states where the money stays with that island. They are afraid of city government, municipal government, because the people will then decide. Go on YouTube, look it up, watch videos about city government, about a real local government. Go and watch it and see how the people decide. It's their job to determine what happens in their community. Potholes is not the job of the main government, the central government. It's not the job of the member of parliament. It's the city. The council decides what they spend their money on, because that's the people's money. The tax collected in your area, that's your money. And they're afraid of us taking their power away. Ladies and gentlemen, but they can't stop what is coming. And so something told me, I did something that was very unorthodox, and politicians really, don't do that. It's not politically expedient, and I decided I felt led to pray before the town hall meeting. I only move as God leads me. And I felt led to pray before the town hall meeting. We are an idea that cannot be stopped. But the people have to choose to go 50 years forward and not 50 years back. We got to the airport finally, because again, we had a plan B. We got to the airport. Someone called me and said, "Wow, I had a dream that I was trying to reach you. I had a dream that y'all was in a plane crash. That y'all was in a little small plane and y'all had a plane crash." I said, "Yeah." I said, "We didn't pass that. That was supposed to be a car crash, but it didn't happen. The tire going down saved us. Because if we had hit that curve with those nuts off, it would have been a different story." This is how the PLP government is fighting us. And when I say us, I mean the Bahamian people. And so wake up, keep your eyes open. And I just wanted to say those things so you know exactly what is going on. We're going to continue to keep you up to date with the petty actions of Philip Brave Davis and the PLP, who want to stay in power, and they will do anything to stay in power. Anything. But we will do anything to empower the Bahamian people. Okay, so let's get going. There's a couple things I want to touch on tonight, especially I want that hospital in the video, that's in Eleuthera. I'm going to start with that, and then we're going to talk about the immigration situation. And the police did come out in full force on Harbour Island and respond to our action on Harbour Island, and so did immigration. So I'll update you in a second. I just want to touch on this first. this healthcare situation. All of our islands are neglected, and this is why island states are important. Island states are important because now, instead of the money being made on an island and being sent to Nassau and just crumbs being sent back, now the island states are going to be able to determine their own future. And so, for example, you've heard me say that Harbor Island produces and sends over $30 million to Nassau, to the central government, every single year. All right, that's tax money. But only $380,000 is sent back to Harbor Island to do stuff in their community. That is ridiculous. And how we just allow that and keep voting for that, it blows my mind. And so we are going to switch that around. And the majority of the money is going to stay on the island. And a royalty is going to be paid to the central government to deal with central government functions, which won't be as much things because the cities will have their budget to deal with their own functions, including paving roads and fixing potholes and putting up street signs and making sure the lights are working, the street lights are working, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to have their own budget. Okay, so the central government won't need as much. What this does is takes control out of the central government and puts it in your hands because you're going to be able to be on your council. You're going to be able to vote via mobile app when certain things are coming up, or be at the council meeting to say what you want done and what you don't want done. All right, and so this is how we're going to change the game. All right, so this is very important. Now, the politicians don't want that because that's how they keep power, because you have to come begging to them. Remember what Philip Brave Davis told me when we talked about the carbon credits and natural resources? He said, Lincoln, if you give the people the benefits from the natural resources and carbon credits, they won't need you. So the thing is control and power. We're coming to take that away from them. We are real Bahamians, not a political party. We are real Bahamians using the political process to take our power back. That's who the Coalition of Independence is. All right, so let's go back. A clinic that I showed you in, I'm going to let it play while I'm talking to you. Let's see if we get that up while I'm talking to you. The clinic that I showed you was donated. The clinic was donated, donated in 1965 to the people of Harbor Island. I'll have it playing silently. It was donated to the people of Harbor Island. There it is. All right. And monies was also donated. The land was donated by Miss H. Pritchard to the people of Harbor Island. And so they started renovations on this under Hank Johnson. They started renovations on this. Election came, and the PLP came in power, and the contractor went to the PLP to ask them, we need to finish this clinic. We need to keep this going. And so he was told by the PLP, you're trying to make Hank look good. And so because they don't want to make Hank look good, they stopped this project that could help the people. And so the people are in dire need of health care. In dire need of health care. They have a small little clinic. There's just one little kind of a house they're renting that they're using as a clinic. A small little clinic. And they can't do really nothing in there. If you got an ache or something, or you got the flu or something, they could see you and give you some medicine. But if something really happens to you, there's nothing they can do. Now, on the contrast, On the contrast, there's a private clinic there called the Wellness Center, I think it is, by Dr. Arlington Lightburn. He raised the money, about $1 million, and he started a clinic there. He started a clinic there, and the clinic there has an emergency room with amazing equipment. They can match or beat New Providence. They have an emergency room, 3 beds, at least, or 3 or 4 beds. They have uh, they have an area that for X-ray and all these other things. They have a operating theater that they're about to get in. They're about to add beds so that people can stay like a hospital. They turn it into a hospital. They have everything that you need for emergency right now. They can treat a broken leg. They can do all of these things private. But the government can't even finish a clinic because they don't want to make Hank look good. That has nothing to do with Hank. This has everything to do with the Bahamian people. Government is continuous. This is shameful. The contractor is owed $300,000 at this point. And this was just a 1 point something million, I think $1.6 million project. So for $1.6 million, they could have built an entire hospital. But no, they rather you suffer. With no dental care, can you imagine? With no emergency care, can you imagine? In the New Bahamas, every single island will have its own hospital, just like the Wellness Center did in Eleuthera. It's coming. But you could choose to vote for them. Eleuthera, Andros, Grand Bahama, Exuma. Listen, if you want it to stay the way it is, just vote for them. And what you are seeing will continue. It'll continue. Broken down airports. The airport at Northern Eleuthera was... The officers working there, including immigration officers, were complaining, Mr. Briland, the working conditions is horrendous. What the tourists have to see and go through is horrendous. But these fellas partying. The money is there. They just squander the money and spend it on what they want. The money is there. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention because that is shameful. Go give that contractor the money, let him finish the work, and open up that hospital for the Bahamian people. One more time.
What you're seeing is a clinic that one government started, and the other government, after all the money was spent, they threw all that money in the garbage and canceled the project. This is a nice clinic, a good size, that could have helped a lot of Bahamians. It's actually on the water, right on the water with a beautiful view. And so a lot of money was spent on this. They even have a big generator they spend a lot of money on. You know, people always say the government don't have money for this, government don't have money for that, but they have the money. They just squander the money. To start a project like this and just throw it in the garbage is wasted. Just look and see what we can see. Seems to be some kind of basement. It's 1, 2, look at this. 2 or 3 stories. Look at that. So, see if we could get inside. So the door is open. Someone left the door open.
Okay, enough of that. Let's keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, and while this is happening, the Prime Minister has a brand new BMW that was very needed by the Prime Minister because you need that engine speed to get him to the airport fast so that he could get in and out of the Bahamas as fast as he can. um, um, it's the Commonwealth of Narnia. I can't explain some of the things that we're experiencing, but all I can do is let you see it and let you decide what's really going on. You know, and before we move on, the reason we talk about these stuff like island states and city government and stuff because we want the government to copy us. They've been copying everything they see us doing and saying. They have no plans of their own. They're doing nothing that you see in their so-called blueprint for change. The only things they're talking about is stuff they hear us talk about in their lives. And so they might as well just let us govern the country. If all they're doing is copying us and responding to us and doing things that we talk about, I mean, they should just step aside because they don't know how to execute it, or they're trying to execute it in a way that it doesn't benefit you. They're trying to keep you poor. You know, when I see the F&M, I mean, it's very comical. I see the F&M starting to copy us. They actually hired a outside consultant from overseas. And the consultant told them, well, because they told them about the political climate, and the consultant told them, well, if Lincoln Payne is the one with the ideas and the one who is resonating with the people, and y'all are not resonating, then y'all just copy him. Whatever you hear him say, you say, right? Because you have control of certain media outlets, and people get the information from the media, so they will think it came from you. They won't think it came from him. Only the people who see it on social media. But it's having the opposite effect. People can actually see that Pintard is trying to be mini-me, and he is trying to say things he hear me say, and it doesn't just go to ideas. I mean, this is really comical. I have to take time to show you, as I promised you from the beginning that I would always show you the political tricks that politicians are doing. And so they hear us talking about this new Bahamas all the time, this new Bahamas. And so the PLP had the F&M had this rally in Grand Bahama recently. I think it was a poor turnout for a rally. What they do is they call it like a constituency meeting in order to downplay, so you don't have real big expectations of it. That's what they do in the beginning of the political season when they don't think they have the amount of support. They downplay it because they wouldn't dare call a rally like we did. And so they had their rally in East Grand Bahama, and at the rally, this is stuff he was saying. He was trying to become mini-me. Watch him.
We could create a new Bahamas.
So Pintard started talking about the new Bahamas because they told him that was resonating with the people. And now they started to copy us by talking about the changes here. And now they're saying the change is not only here, it's unstoppable. The unstoppable part is something he used to say a little while, but the change is here part is interesting. Watch.
Tonight, change is not only here, but this change is unstoppable.
The change is not only here, but this change is unstoppable. In other words, you can't stop them. They can stop us. You can't stop them, is what he's saying. And so I just wanted to bring this all of your attention. While the F&M with no ideas continues to try to copy the COI and be the COI. It's like we're their big brothers. And so our little brothers and sisters in the F&M are copying us. And Pintard is trying to be mini-me. And so we can effectively call him Lincoln Jr. because that's what he is trying to be. And so I just want you to know that whenever change is coming, the first thing the enemy does or the oppressor does is try to copy you. When he sees you as power and strength, it's a spiritual thing. I'll give you one example of that. There's many examples. Remember when Moses stood in front of Pharaoh and Moses did something, a miracle, and he turned the staff into a snake? What did Pharaoh do? Turned the staff into a snake. He copied him. He started to copy him. And that's what they start to do when they realize your power. They start to copy you. But no matter what they do, your snake trumps theirs. And so the powers that be are copying us because they realize that we actually are the government. Even though they are in place, we are already anointed and appointed and ready to take over this government and give it to the Bahamian people. We are the government. The we is not the COI, it is the people. Remember, the role of the Joshua generation was not to empower Joshua. The Joshua generation was not about Joshua. It was about the people. And we are the Joshua generation. And so it is not about a Joshua. This is not about Lincoln Bean. This is about what Lincoln Bean represents. The Bahamian people. That is what this represents. And Joshua gave the land to the people. That's the first thing they did, was issue the land to the people. They cut the land up and gave everyone their piece of land. Everyone got a piece of the land. So if you want to be the Joshua generation, that's the PLP copying us now. Brave David said that they're the Joshua generation. Jesus. Brave. Joshua is not a criminal. He did not run a criminal organization. He was not encouraging people smuggling. We'll get to that. People smuggling. Joshua would have never associated with someone like Peter Nygaard, a human trafficker, and someone who took advantage of, raped our young girls in this country, underage girls. Joshua would have never been associated with the likes of him. Joshua would have never been associated with drug dealers. You are not the Joshua generation. You are a criminal organization. And more information is coming. Back to where we were. And so let's pay attention. They are endorsing us by copying us and showing you that we are the ones already running the country. And so you should just do what is wise for all Bahamians and take us to the next level. Now, before I talk about the immigration situation and how the police and immigration responded, there's just one more issue I got to deal with. I have to show you this because this is what Bahamians are going through in our country while the legal immigrants are being given the red carpet. You'll have to see this. Listen to this gentleman. I'm going to state more when he's finished. This is a gentleman who has a business, a stable on the beach where he gives horseback rides to tourists on the beach. He's been doing this for over 30 years. He's been there on Crown land for over 30 years. And recently, our crooked, corrupt government has been overriding local government, and he's received a letter from the Attorney General's office and from the police to get off that beach after being there for over 30 years. He has a work permit from local government. He has business license, everything that he needs. He has the blueprint for his stable and everything else. Everything was done according to the law. And they're taking bread out of this Bahamian mouth for a foreigner who wants to now put some villas there. And his stable is in front of their villas, blocking their view. Of course, the crime he committed has nothing to do with the stable. The crime he committed was being Bahamian while present in the Bahamas. Under the PLP and FNM, the number one crime is not murder because murderers don't get the sentence that the Constitution promises to them, which is death. The number one crime in the Bahamas is being Bahamian under the PLP and FNM. And you see it every day. The foreigners can do whatever they want. But you, they'll rake you over the coals. I want you to listen to this man as he talks, and then I'll tell you the full story when he's finished.
So I'm standing here with a Bahamian entrepreneur who's been here for over 30 years. And what do? You do horses on the beach?
Yes, sir.
So he
Horseback
does
riding.
horseback riding on the beach. And so he has his kind of stable here with his horses. And you've been here for how long?
30 plus years.
Okay.
Second set of horses.
And this land is what kind of land?
Crown land.
It's crown land.
Yes, sir.
You sure it's crown land?
Positive, that's crown land.
Yeah. So I know it's crown land because they've been asked you to come up to crown land. But the problem is if you've been here over 30 years, they can't move you. The land now belongs to you. So how much of this land have you been occupying?
That's right here. From right there, it's my property right there, crown land. I have a blueprint, recorded, stamped. If you look here, you see the permit. The permit is here, legit permit from this crown here. But
So
they met
show the permit number. So you have permit number
sir. Right
028/2021.
right there.
Permit number.
From local government.
And that's from local government.
Local government. And they
Okay.
they give me a letter to go to court. July 18 and 19, which they was mixed up about it. 18 and 19. To come in court.
Who gave you a letter?
I came to the Attorney General office, and then Mr. Farquharson. 18 the Attorney General office, and then 19 was the police station. 18 and 19 to give me a letter to move my stable. They said Mr. Scott Sawyer said it was the illegal building on the beach. Remember, the Prime Minister said if you don't protect what you have, you don't serve the ever. This is the Pinland said. This is crown
But
land.
you've been here for 30 years.
30 plus years. This is crown land. But they want to move from here and put me in front of Carl Sands. They want to move me in front of Carl Sands. All this they're going to cut down.
But you have a building permit.
Yes, sir.
So how is it a legal building?
Yes, that's what he says. It's a legal building.
So I gotta check the permit to make sure that's legit.
That's legit. I can show you that ASAP. That's
Okay.
legit.
And so this is your stable right here.
Yes, yes, sir.
And so you basically rent to tourists on the beach.
Every day, every 7 days a week.
Wow, how much you charge?
110, 75, half at 110.
That's all? Wow. Alright, and so who has a problem with you being here?
Pink signs.
So Pink Sign is building villas right here.
They did that, yes. They watch me. They know that.
So they know you were here.
Long time.
And they
Now-
build right behind you.
Right behind
And
me.
now, where's their permit number?
I don't know. They don't have no permit number. Scott
That
Sawyer
land
said-
that they're on is also crown land.
Well, yes, this is crown land straight up. Four times. Pink sign, 3 or 4.
But I don't see a building permit. I ain't saying it. Yeah, it ain't here, but I don't see a building permit. Number. No. It looks nice though. Alright, so you're here, you've been here 30 years. This is my advice to you. You gotta fight it in court.
Petitions. 300 plus people petitions. That's even JPs and certain them did the same thing.
Oh, wow.
They said I should not. Don't. I'm supposed to be doing this, but it's sad because they even make money off me right here. Pinkstown make money. They call me every day to horseback riding.
Oh wow.
But I supposed to move.
Come, you go ahead.
I supposed to move immediately right here.
Wow.
You know.
Alright, so we're gonna bring this awareness to the Bahamian public. But if you've been here 30 years, you're Bahamian, right?
Born here. Born right here. 52 years.
In our island.
1970. Born here. Right here. And this is my establishment right here. The second set of. I flew these horses in. Cost me $62,000.
What?
To fly these horses. The same four right here. $62,000.
Wow.
Okay? But now I must knock this down. Illegal. They tell me it's a legal building.
Yeah, you have a work permit. So that doesn't even, you'll see what happens. Alright?
I'm going down to it.
Alright, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, when I see things like that, it makes me extremely angry.
This man's only sin is that he is a Bahamian and a foreigner wants what he has. It's his only sin. He's been there for over 30 years. So someone said to me, "Oh, that's a shack, and that shouldn't be there." And my thing is, it was there for over 30 years. Not only was it there, the Pink Sands Hotel, which is trying to get rid of him because they want to now put villas there, they were utilizing his services the way it is. So you can't. So let me tell you what's really happening. So, for example, tourists need things to do. When you go to Disney World, you don't go there for a hotel room or a villa. You go there because when you go to Orlando, I should say, you don't go there for a room or a villa. You go there to go to Disney, to go shopping, to go to Universal, for activities. When you go to Miami, you go there because you can go shopping, you can go to South Beach, you go there for activities. And this is what has been wrong with our tourism product for all this time. And this is how we've been messing up. Tourists need something to do. And the biggest complaint is that tourists don't have anything to do. I've been on a cruise, on cruises to the Bahamas because I want to experience what the tourists are experiencing. And I would notice that when the ship is about to land, there's nothing for you to do. There's no reason to come off the ship, so the tourists don't come off the ship. So all these big tourism numbers that they're talking about and trying to sham you with, most of those numbers, those tourists don't come off the ship, even though they're counted. So they're going to tell you these big, we went over 7 million this year, or we went to 8 million, but it's 80% of those people never came off the ship. But you counted them. But anyway, tourists need something to do. What that gentleman is offering is something to do. For these set of horses, he paid $62,000. The hotel does what cruise ships do. So if he charges $75, they would probably hike up the price double, $150 or $200 for their guests, and then they would send the guest to him and say, "Hey, horseback ride there." Remember when you go on the cruise ship, they would give you a little excursion. You pay for the excursion on the ship. The excursion may cost $50 if you get it on land, but the ship could charge you $200 for that same excursion. And so the hotel was using him all this time to give their guests something to do because all they could offer them was beach, which is boring. A lot of countries have beach. And so you can't use the man all this time, and now that you want to put some villas there and probably go into doing what he is doing, get rid of him, and they do it. Cut out the middleman. Now they want to get rid of a Bahamian. It's sickening. Remember, they started trying to push the people off of Paradise Island, Cabbage Beach, because they wanted to offer the lawn chairs. The beach chairs that the Bahamians were offering. They started selling the coconuts, remember? For $20-something for one coconut drink. They wanted to sell, they realized that Bahamians were making money from that, so they wanted to make more from it. And you see what they started to do? They're trying to take away every little thing from us. See, the horseback riding wouldn't count as water sport, so they can do it. So they made him a few offers. They offered him $40,000. This is a joke. For that prime beachfront property. Then they raised it to $50,000. And then all of a sudden, we see government officials come in trying to attack him. So we know what that means. Then they tried to tell him, they'll move him next door, right across from where he is. But where they're trying to put him is below the high water mark. So he can't really have that. And there's another area that he'd actually cleared out right down the beach from where he is. He had already cleared that out. and they started using it. It was on Crown land, remember? And so, really and truly, where those villas are is on Crown land, and that man actually owns that. Those villas belong to him because he's been maintaining that land all this time. He has. And so, those villas, my brother, those nice villas that they built with the little small pools in front of them, that's yours. Pink Sand has blessed you tremendously. And so I'll advise you to go to those buildings and take them over. They're yours. You can start Airbnb in them. Now, what your lawyer needs to do, he had Alfred Sayers as a lawyer before. I told him big mistake, hiring a politician. And Alfred Sayers didn't really do anything for him. And he says he's paid up to like $40,000. When I say do anything, he did stuff, but not to his liking. And so now he has another lawyer. And I told him, I said, has your lawyer told you that after 30 years on Crown land, it belongs to you? No. That you can file to the courts to have this land turned over to you? All of the Crown land you've been using all these years? You have over 3 people that did a petition and are willing to attest that you were there over 30 years. I spoke to people on Harbor Island behind his back who attested that that man was there for over 30 years. Some of them said from they were children, some said before they were born. That man was right there using that land. My brother, that land ain't our land. That's your land. You have been there over 30 years and only the courts can remove you. Stop applying to land and surveys. That land is your land. That ain't our land no more. That was our land. When you reach the 30-year mark, that became your land. That land belongs to you. No one can take that from you. And we need to declare war on anyone, foreign, local government, who would dare try to take land from a Bahamian. We live under the rule of law, and these corrupt politicians need to stop fighting for these foreigners who are just taking our land. My brother, you are Bahamian, and that land belongs to you. If your lawyer isn't filing the action in court right now, as I have advised you, then he is out of order and he is a sellout. Get rid of him and get a serious lawyer who's going to go to court. There was recently, last year I think it was, a defense force officer. There was land next to him. His neighbor bought that land with cash money. Neighbor abandoned the land, never used to come there. The defense force officer used to cut it down for safety reasons and maintain it just for safety reasons. Then it grows up or whatever. And so someone advised him after 12 years, that land is yours. You've been cutting that down. You even had to build nothing on it. He planted a couple of trees on it to make it look good. He said that land is yours. He went to court, and the court, you can Google this, it was in the Tribune, it was in the newspapers. The court said, oh, you was maintaining the land, you put some trees in it, it's yours. It doesn't matter who paid for that. That's yours. My brother, you and your horses were there. This is a second set of horses. You are the first set, then dead. That's how long you've been there. You invested another $62,000 in horses for those 4 horses. That land is your land. And Ryan Pinder, that foreign attorney general, cannot touch you. The commissioner of police, Clayton Fernanda, cannot touch you. That is your land. Take your grimy hands of our Bahamian people. We need a new government that's going to fight for Bahamians over foreigners. Act with haste. All of your documents I've checked are in place. You had a work permit to build that structure there. You had a blueprint for that structure, so anyone who didn't like it could have told you to change it. And the pink sand, which is on top of the hill, they was using you. So they know you had that land, and they made you offers because they know the land belongs to you. But not just that part where the stable is. The whole thing to the top of the hill is yours. Take it. People of Briland, your island is being overrun and taken over. Stand with that man. Someone told me, oh, he has an apartment and he has some Haitian nationals in there. And I checked. And he does have an apartment, and some Haitians are living in his apartment. All of them are legal. Work permit, working for who they say they work for. That's a Bahamian. Empower him. Because it's him today, tomorrow is you. Y'all better wake up. As I go to this last part, I'm going to open the phone lines. Remember, you got a call by WhatsApp call. 803-5995 is the number. So now I can talk about the immigration situation over there. 803-5995, but I can open numbers while I'm doing this. 803-5995. You can call at any time that you want while we're having this discussion. 803-5995. How you feel about them taking this man, this Bahamian man, land? How you feel about the situation with this clinic? And that they would rather y'all suffer than have a proper clinic. Maybe we just like bad treatment. Maybe you know, we might not deserve anything. My Lord. I'm gonna get to the Washington Post in a minute. Right? So my people of our island, y'all better start fighting. Y'all letting these illegal Haitians take over your country. We talked to some of them. Some said they had work permit, and some said they had nothing. And what shocked me more than anything else was when I was told that where I was standing, right there in the yard, that Bahamians don't dare go there. In our country, there would be a place that Bahamians dare not go. They're afraid of them. They're afraid of the guns and violence, and they're afraid of the voodoo. Voodoo. Bahamians, you need not be afraid in your country. The new Bahamas is at hand. And you will be the powerful ones in your country. Stand with me. I'll stand in front of you. I will take the bullets. I will go where you want me to go if you come with me. Just stand with me. I'll stand in the front. All right, caller, turn down your device that you're listening to. You are live. Good evening. Caller, you live. Good evening. Make sure you're close to your phone.
Okay, I'm close to the phone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you for visiting our island. Thank you for taking on. I'm from Harbor Island. My name is Stephen Clare.
Right.
And I want to say to my fellow Bahamians and my brothers that they need to stand up. I keep telling them that. I've been telling them that. No, I'm not involved at this time. I've been involved for a while. It's too sweet. But I don't want to leave. But the thing is that they are letting these people come in and take over. And you have some of my brothers and sisters right there in our brother standing there and letting this happen and saying, oh, it's not my problem. But if you don't stand up, you're going to lose it. And they know that. They've lost all of Briland. Look at the commissioner's property, where the commissioners used to live. Look at the docks. Look at that over 70 years. Mr. Bain, while you were there, you stumbled in a pothole which I stepped in 30, 40 years ago. The same pothole you stepped in.
Wow.
And they need to wake. I was watching you move around, and that same pothole is where I stepped. They haven't done anything there, and they keep rolling these idiots in there. My people in Harvard need to wake up. They need to wake up. This is time for change. Back and forward, and they do nothing. Mr. Petty, who is supposed to be the representative, don't even come to Briland, I'm told. Don't even come there.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on there. I get daily reports from there. Daily. And even the police, corrupt. The doctor, corrupt. How a doctor not write a report when someone could quit just because it's done by the police? Why he refuses to write a report? They all need to go. They need people who are who's about law and order.
So you from Briland. You from Briland. That gentleman who was there, was he really there for over 30 years?
Yes, sir, he was. He was there for over 30 years.
So why do you think the Attorney General, who is supposed to know the law, would send him a letter asking him to move? Why do you think the government would be trying to bully this man to move if they know he's been there over 30 years and they know the law? They should be trying to fight for him.
That's what they should be doing. But they are on the cake. Okay? Once they get their pockets lined, they don't care. Bahamian or not, they don't care. And they know that Pink Sands is on building the villas on Crown land. Okay?
Wow.
And if you want to move them villas.
No, I need to move them villas. Those villas belong to that gentleman. They belong to him now. You can't touch his villas.
No, I'm just saying, when they built them, they should have known that they could not build them there. That was, like you said, his land. 30 years, he's been there more than 30. Okay? And the people in Alberta know that. And they should support him instead of saying, oh, he should take the money. That's what I've been hearing. Oh, he should take the money and then call it a day. No. You keep taking the money. It is called gentrification. Pretty soon, you're going to be living on North Eleuthera, living in Alberta because they are taking it from you. If you don't treasure it, if you don't want it, you will lose it. I keep telling them that. If you don't appreciate Alberta, they're going to move you out.
Yeah.
Stand up.
All right. Thank you for your call, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you to the time. Thank you, sir.
All right. Listen. Break down those buildings. Those buildings belong to him. They are his buildings. He could move in them. And in fact, I'll advise you to move in one of them. And you take control of them. They're your buildings. You take them. They will build them on your land. Take them. All right? Bahamians need to learn to start being strong. After we went to the Haitian village, again, you can call us at any time, 803-5995. You have the WhatsApp call. I'm talking on the regular line no more because the police is listening. We went there, and after we came from there, the police today went there in full force. I mean, full force in Briland is like hundreds of police, but there's 7 police officers and immigration officers went to the exact area where we were and were questioning people about their papers, etc. And they were doing kind of an operation there. All right. As you know, I mean, it was shameful that we had to go there for that to happen. But we thank the police for at least doing their jobs. And it's almost like you always have to expose and embarrass persons to do their job. How is it that we could go there and see all the building material piled up ready to go build right there in that area? and the police can't walk around in those areas and see. They should know that that is a high crime risk area. They should be there every day giving them hell. It's easy to solve crime, you know. If there's a drug house in your area, not only do you go there and you raid it, you park the police car right outside their drug house. See how many customers they have. You park the car right there. In the United States, they have school zones when school is open, when school is going in and when it's closing. No, they do. They park a police car right there. Sometimes no police in them car, you know. They just park the car. And guess what? You will obey those zones because you see the car there. You'll behave in that area because you see the car there. At the airport, Miami Airport, Florida Airport, etc., you see police cars, lots of police cars around. A lot of those police cars, if you look at them, are empty. There's no one in the car. They just park there, so you know not to mess around. There's a lot of strategies to fight crime. Listen, from you know that a bunch of illegal immigrants are moving into the area, because you can't tell me that all of the locals know what you don't know. You cannot tell me that you don't know. And you're in there every day. I mean, Lincoln Bain can fly all the way from New Providence and come there and meet a man standing up with a gun. Now, when I first started talking to him, I didn't see the gun because I was in the front of him and he had it behind him. So some of the women who were with me saw the gun. Saw the gun in his waist from like in the back part. He was the one who was telling me, I don't know if that part was on the live because the live was going up and down. He was the one who was telling me don't put him on camera. And he had the hard mouth. And he was like, don't put me on camera. You can't tell me what to do in my country. It's our land. You can't tell me what to do on our land. That's the area where they had the little beauty salon there where they was doing the manicures and pedicures. Let me tell you something. Damien, man, the Haitians outside in the cool breeze in Harbor Island, on the main road, outside under the tree, getting manicure and pedicure while you're struggling. They're getting manicure and they're getting their fingers rubbed right down, their toes rubbed down. They living the life on Harbor Island. You can't afford property on Harbor Island, but they come and just take it. And so anyway, the man was there and he was having hard mouth with me. And I was basically telling him, you can't tell us what to do in our country. You need to get lost. And he walked over into the road. And I continued doing what I was doing. And then one of the ladies came to me and said, that man had a gun. And then she showed me, the one in the colorful shirt, she pointed him out to me. And I went to walk behind him, and then I saw it for myself. I saw that, oh, he did have a gun. Let me just show you. This is a part of it where that happened. He was over here somewhere.
Stand up in the colorful shirt.
Which colorful shirt?
Yeah, see? Walk.
Yeah? Oh, him. Yeah, this fella right there look like he have a gun in this shirt who just walking off. This yeah, look like this fella right here. What's up, bro? Where you going? Come here. Huh? What that is in your waist? What's that in your waist, bro? Yeah, so yeah, he's walking and he has what looks like a gun in his waist. This is what our country has come to.
Hey, you got a fella walking around with a gun in his waist.
What is it?
The Asian fella through there. So this is what the country's come to. Persons on land is concerned about the murders that are now happening. Well, suspicious death, they're calling them, on Harbor Island. They found some Haitians dead, 2 in the last month or something like that. Now, we haven't seen them reported in the news, and so that concerns people. They believe those persons were killed and they made it look like a drowning or something. So this kind of stuff is happening, all right? And we're very concerned about that. Very concerned. Briland, take your island back. We'll be back in short order. It's time to take your island back. There's something else I got to touch on as we go. While I was in Harbor Island, I got the news of a 9-year-old girl, and I was told by the family that she's 7 years old. I don't know which one it is. That was kidnapped, raped. They said they attempted to kill her. Didn't work out. They just dropped her off by Spikenard Road by the front by the graveyard. As a nation, we are failing because we're not creating a home for our country to come back home to, for our people to come, our children to come back home to. I'm sorry. Our children are leaving because we're not creating a country for them. We're not taking that seriously. And we're not protecting our children. I remember at one point, when I used to do my TV show back in the day, I used to use it as a platform to fight for people. And at one point, the police never used to take these kinds of crimes seriously. Child molestation, they never take them seriously. Call back in 5 minutes. Let me just get this out. And I used to take women there who children were molested by police, etc., or other powerful persons, and I used to fight for them. This is on this is happening around the same time that little baby Bella, mother, was sentenced to 3 years in jail. The man who killed baby Bella, and they say allegedly raped her, was sentenced to 25 years in jail after killing a whole child. It's going to be out in short order. He won't do 25 years. You'll remember that it was myself and Maria Daxon that fought for baby Bella, that fought for the father. And they told us that it was impossible. They said, oh, the father can't have custody because they weren't married. And remember all this stuff they were saying, oh, Maria Daxon Lincoln shouldn't be advising these people of stuff that's not the law. They intentionally don't teach us civics and the law because they want to be able to abuse us. But we fought tooth and nail, myself and Maria, for baby Bella and for her father and their family. And we went to court, and the father won. A few months after that, there was another girl who was kidnapped. It was kind of a similar situation with a bad mother. There was another young lady who was kidnapped by her mother. And
Even though the father's side of the family was taking care of the girl all her life, the mother had habits, and I guess they say she used to sell and do different stuff, and she wanted the daughter to now come and take care of the other little children while she was out doing her foolishness. And we tracked down that little girl. I use every skill I have as an investigator and as a computer scientist to track down exactly where that girl was. And we found her. We found her. And we returned her to her parents. CY has been doing a lot of things since election. We don't brag about all this stuff. We don't bring this stuff to people's memory. We've been fighting for young people also. That wasn't for political gain, but that's because it's like there's no one out there to fight for us. The laws will change. The laws will change. Let me tell you now, and you could vote for this or don't vote for this. This is your choice. But if you kidnap and rape a child in the New Bahamas, you will receive the death penalty. There are some countries that give drug dealers a death penalty. I think that if you kidnap and rape a young child like that, you have taken their lives. You have destroyed their lives in such a serious way that in some cases they may never recover. Let me say this to you again, and you don't have to vote for me if you don't like it. In the New Bahamas, if you kidnap and rape a child, you will receive the death penalty. You will never walk the face of this earth again. Never. Some people ask me, well, they have now determined scientifically that these people who commit these heinous rape crimes, these sexual crimes, are incorrigible. They are unable to rehabilitate them. And so if you know they are unable to be rehabilitated, the sexual offenders list isn't enough. I'm not talking about cases like, you and your girlfriend, have an argument and you force yourself on her and that kind of stuff. No. I'm talking about if you kidnap and rape a child, you will face the death penalty. They say, oh, we don't have death penalty right now for the murderers. It's because our weak politicians don't want it. All they have to do is define what is the worst of the worst. That's all the Privy Council wants, Or go to referendum and change our constitution, or just update the laws. But they don't want to do that. The Privy Council didn't say they can't execute, They say it shouldn't be automatic. The judge should have the option to decide. That's all they said. And then a previous case said that only the worst of the worst. Then just define what the worst of the worst is. Do an act of parliament. You all like to run in parliament to do all these things. And add to the law where the worst of the worst is defined as someone who does this. And it will be done. We don't even have a life sentence defined in our law. So that means persons who get a life sentence, who was getting life sentences in the court of law, after 7-8 years, they were getting out. I experienced this as police. They were getting out. They would go to court and argue that their life is finished. They've done this amount of time, and they would get out. Because we don't have life sentence in our law. Because these politicians that y'all are paying to legislate and do laws won't do it. Because remember, they're lawyers. Remember, they're there to benefit the criminals. They're there to be able to get them out and use these kinds of loopholes to get them out. That's why you have a Minister of National Security who is a criminal lawyer, defends criminals, and now you see crime going up. But that's what we voted for. Let me be unequivocally clear again for you. In the New Bahamas, the death penalty will return. We will put the laws in place to make sure that it is able to return, and no one is going to tell us what we can or cannot do. The death penalty will also be for persons who kidnap and rape children. You will not walk the face of this earth again. That is a promise. The age of sexual consent will move from 16 to 18. The age of sexual consent will move from 16 to 18. It is unthinkable that a child cannot get a driver's license, cannot sign a contract or agree to anything, cannot do anything without their parents' permission except have sex and by extension have a baby. They can't agree to anything, but they can have sex. Because of these perverted politicians. That is why the law is in place. They know what they do. The sick, perverted Minister of National Security, who implied that a child, I think it was a 7-year-old child, can give consent. That is beyond nonsensical, stupid, and it is not the law. And even if it was, you are in a position to change the law by tabling a bill in the House of Assembly in the Minister of National Security. To say that this is what it is, I don't think it should be that, let's change it. Even if that was the case. We gotta wake up. These sick perverts are in your house and they want this to continue. Let me repeat, because I don't want you to say I didn't warn you. In the New Bahamas, if you kidnap and rape a child, you will be executed and cremated. We ain't wasting our space burying you. We will cremate you. Rape is on the rise in this country, but what do you expect to happen if you have a member of parliament that could be accused of rape and assault, and months later, nothing? I've known other people in the same situation as him who the very same or next day was locked up and taken before the court. I know someone who was locked up for something similar exactly when he was locked up, and they were taken before the court. And then he came out and talked about how he is the Prime Minister of Abaco. Let me make this clear. We have all the laws that we need, you know. We have criminals to enforce the law. That is the problem. And I mean criminal politicians. We have all the immigration laws we need. We don't need another immigration law. But they ain't enforcing it. The defense force ain't catching no one else. Wake up, Bahamas. Since the PLP came into power, the defense force ain't catching no one out to sea. It's the U.S. Coast Guard or Cuba or Turks and Caicos. They got instructions. And the deportations is not anyone who landed. It's the people who the U.S. government catch, because we could number them. They come on the news, and then they use those ones to send off. The ones who touch land, they customers of the crooked politicians. 803-5995 is the number. Now, I'll move on quickly. That I had made up in my mind that I was coming here and I was going to put on my investigative hat. I was going to track down that person who raped that girl, that 7 or 9-year-old girl. I spoke to a family, but they told me that the police has caught the person. I'm going to investigate to make sure that is the case. I was going to put all my resources. I've already spoken to family members. I was going to put all my resources behind tracking that person down and bringing them to justice. Leave our children alone. Two consenting adults, y'all do what y'all want to do. Not my business. Leave our children alone. Now, we're in a situation where the Bahamas government is now being embarrassed internationally again. As I told you before election, that every time the PLP comes to power, we get embarrassed internationally. And it's already started with FTX and other things that have already gone down. The FTX trial is about to come up. The clock is ticking. So we'll see October. Now, the government that brought you Peter Nygaard, you saw all of them in the picture with Peter. The government that brought you Peter Nygaard, that aided and abetted him while he was here, intimidating young women who wanted to make police complaints because of what Peter Nygaard did to them. Now they appear to be allowing or participating in human trafficking. Now, I've read a lot of history and I saw that while the PLP was encouraging drug dealers to land in this country and they were buying, the politicians Rolls Royces and give them a lot of money that they couldn't account for, including Finland. And police officers in Bimini, etc., would be helping them land planes and with drugs and this kind of stuff. While this was going on, people started to talk about it. And everyone's like, oh, that can't be true. Where's your proof? You can't just be accusing the government. Where's your proof? No, man. And some people are like, oh, you can't talk about Finland like that. And the same old story. They played it, they downplayed it. And we had more attention from the international community paying attention to what was going here than from the local community. Norman Solomon actually went on a boat himself as a member of parliament and swam through shark-infested waters to land on Norman's Key to see what was going on. He was chased off by drug dealers with guns. He came back and reported it to the house. Nothing. It's happening again. Bahamas, we've been showing you the human smuggling has been going on. You've seen boats with legal Haitians on it, but also shipments of drugs on the same boat. These people were landing with PLP shirts on, with New Day shirts on. The people smuggling, the drug smuggling, and the human trafficking is what's happening right now, and politicians are benefiting from it. Everything thing you see happening with Keith Bell, the fact that the government is behind him on this is because they are complicit in this and they're making money from this. And they're not going to stand down. You have to decide as a people what's going to happen. Will you continue to accept this? So what's the things that can be done? Because now the Washington Post has put a story out there. And I can assure you that they're not going to let that go right there. I can assure you that they have real investigative reporting. And our government is going to be embarrassed. The situation with the 65 Chinese was not a situation of work permits. That was a situation of human trafficking. The persons disappeared afterwards. I see Pintard and Minnis put some questions to the government in the House of Assembly. What do you mean questions? You are members of Her Majesty's loyal opposition. You are being paid to stand up against the government. Do you know what it means to oppose? You are being paid to oppose the government. What do you mean by questions? When you ask questions, it's because you don't have facts. Do you see what I do? What I've been doing for the last 20 years, I've been making statements and calling names and showing proof. I don't have time for Pintard and Minnis playing games about they're asking questions. You see some of the ridiculous, idiotic questions that Pintard and Minnis are asking. It sounds cute to them, but they're asking questions because they don't really want to take action, even though they can take action as the opposition. They can file for a commission of inquiry. They can file for judicial review. They can table bills in the House of Assembly. Yes, they can. We table bills from outside of the House of Assembly on the street. I saw, I thought it was so ridiculous. Where is it? Let's see, this one is it. The FNM saying enact anti-corruption legislation. That's what the FNM says. Why didn't you and Minnis enact it when you were in? Do you think we're stupid? What do you mean enact this legislation? Why didn't you enact it? Because you were corrupt. All of a sudden, you can say these things that need to happen, that this government needs to do. Why didn't you do it when you were there? You're talking about Freedom of Information Act. Why didn't you enact the Freedom of Information Act? FNM, sit down and shut up. Or stand up and fight for the Bahamian people in the right way. Not these statements just to say you said something. Oh, see how they're fighting for? No, they're not fighting. They're talking. There are actual substantive things that the opposition can do that none of them do because they are one. Pintard released something with so Michael Pinkard. Sorry, I didn't mean to say Pinkard. Michael Pintard Michael Pintard released 38 questions. I was actually looking at a Sandlands document from back in the day. And that's why I accidentally said pink card. I'm on the right document now. Michael Pintard released 38 questions. Listen to the questions that they're asking. What is the point of these questions? It says, 1, will the Honorable Minister Bell provide the Honorable House with the date that the employer of the 65 Chinese cured the matters? How about you file for judicial review and you demand the information, you subpoena the information, but you don't want to do that, hey, because you don't really want to do nothing. Number 2, will the Honorable Minister Bell advise the Honorable House on the dates and transportation method used for the Chinese workers in question to gain entry into the country? How about you file for judicial review and subpoena the information? But you don't want to do that, hey? Just ask stupid questions. Number 3, will the Honorable Minister Bell state if the work permits for the individuals in questions were made before their entry into the country are expired? It's in the computer system. How about you file a judicial review and subpoena the information? Oh, you are the Public Accounts Committee. How about you subpoena the information from a financial basis? How about you try to determine if these work permits were paid? How about you try to file to see if 65 work permits were paid for as the Public Accounts Committee? That would be within your power and purview. Do I need to teach you how to do your job as an opposition, Michael Pintard and Hubert Minnis? How about you use your powers as the Public Accounts Committee and subpoena to see if these work permits were paid for? Therefore, will Honorable Minister Bell advise the Honorable House how long the individuals in questions were in country before being discovered by immigration officials? How long were they in country before being discovered? Jesus. Have the 3 workers who had documentation been identified? What do you mean if they've been identified? We released a report that shows who they are, what their names are, what their passport numbers is. If this is the kind of questions you're all asking, you'll need to step down. If so, were they fined for overstaying and or deported? How about you file for a judicial review and subpoena the information? Or how about you use your powers as the Public Accounts Committee and investigate if any monies were received from fines? Jesus. Y'all are paying Pintard $50,000 a year as leader of the opposition, plus the $25,000 a year as a member of parliament. That's $75,000 plus perks, plus staff salary, plus an allowance for the office of the opposition, plus an allowance for his Marco City constituency. $500,000 y'all giving this fella to ask stupid questions. Michael Pinto, I have a question for you. Are you stupid? Because you are asking, and I don't mean that, I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that because you're asking stupid questions when you should be taking substantive action that you have the power to take as the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition. Or you want me to do it first so you could just copy me? I'm giving you the information. Pintard, as the head of the Public Accounts Committee, anything involving money, any transaction that happened in immigration, you can subpoena, you can call people before you to find out what happened with the money. And you can use that to investigate. You can file for a commission of inquiry now. Commission of inquiry was filed against the UBP by the opposition when they were in power. And they were exposed as criminals, selling out to Wallace Groves, receiving $1 million bribes. There was a commission of inquiry against the PLP in 1984 while they were the government. Pintard, file for the commission of inquiry. You're the opposition. Or you need me to do it first and then you follow me in the news, pretend like you did it. Because that's what seems to be happening now. Do you want me to file? Do you want me to present the letter to the Governor General? Maybe we have to do that. You have to hold Pintard's hand and help him to do this. So, let me tell you what I'm going to do, Pintard. I'm going to file for commission of inquiry with the Governor General this week. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go live and I'm going to do it. I'm going to deliver the letter to the Governor General. And then you can come back with the media. And you could pretend like, and you can do the same thing. I could send you the letter that we sent. And then you could pretend like you were the one who filed it first. All right? Let's do that. You can also just file for judicial review. Or are you waiting on us to see how to do it? There are about 30 other stupid questions by Michael Pintard. It is an illusion to make it seem like they're doing something. They're doing nothing. 803-5995 is the number. We got a couple more minutes. We got about 4 more minutes. Let me take some of your comments on social media. Remember, when you call, you got to call WhatsApp call. All right. Does it hurt to ask questions if you don't know what to do? They are too proud to ask for help. If he can't handle the kitchen, he needs to get out of it and let the real chef in there. Someone says, that's who they want to run our country. Let's take this call. Hopefully this Pintard. Nope, it's not Pintard. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. President. How you doing today?
I am awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I'm calling from Florida. But I
Awesome.
just called to tell Mr. Pintard, that he needs to follow your blueprint and what you're saying. I mean, they've been doing it anyway, just like whoever tell them that to go ahead and copy whatever you're doing. Well, you show them the blueprint, show them what you do, because you know all of them watching anyway. So keep up the good work, Mr. President. I ain't voting over 20 years, and I can't wait to vote for COI.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We will have the New Bahamas. Just spread the word. We're going to get this done.
Most definitely. You keep up the good work.
Thank you for your
Good
call.
evening, Bahamas.
All right. Thank you for your call. All right. So, all right. So, I mean, it's just flabbergasting. I want to give special hellos to a couple people that we met while we were in Briland. We took a lot of pictures. I just want to show you this gentleman right here. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for everything that you did. And this gentleman right here, this is the oldest man on Harbor Island. Harbor Island? Yes, this is the oldest man in Eleuthera. Sorry. 97 years old, the oldest man. And he supports the COI. And he feeds and he watches the COI and he keeps up with everything that's going on. I just want to say thank you so much for your support. And thank you for your blessings. They say you can't teach old dogs new trick, and they say the older people are set in their ways. This is a 97-year-old man who supports the COI 1,000%. He made sure they brought me to him, and he was an inspiration, right? I also got a chance, remember, a couple months ago to meet with Dr. Minnis' father, Dr. Hubert Minnis' father, who's, I think, 90 years old, who said he supports the COI 100%. He gave me some good advice. So a lot of people are believing in the message, and they are ready for the change, all right? Of that clinic that you saw, I was trying to speed through it, but they got new, good-looking air conditioning set up. They got generators set up, all kind of money spent. But they don't want to make Hank look good, so they prefer for all of you to suffer. Just a little note here. The CDOR rep says the new bill fails human rights standards. So the new bill that Brave Davis them want to put in place, it fails these standards. Well, of course that is the case, because the PLP believes in pedophiles and rapists and abusers like Leslie Miller, who admitted to beating women. And so do you expect anything better from them? Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bain.
How you doing?
When are you going to good. When are you going to Andros?
We're going to Andros next month.
Oh, next month. Are you
Yes.
going, because it's 3 parts of Andros, you going north or south or central?
We're going to announce
Central and north.
We're going to announce it when it's time. We can't announce it too much ahead of time, because remember, we're fighting some evil demons who are going to try to book out all the rent-a-cars or put pressure on the rent-a-car company or the hotels. So you know what kind of battle we're fighting. So when it's close to the time,
right,
we're gonna let you know, okay?
Okay. I just want to say something on that trip to Eleuthera the other day. I've never been to Eleuthera, but I was amazed by what I saw, and I don't live home, but I follow you, and my heart is home.
Wow.
But I mean, to see Bahamians sit back and let these people come on the island and do that.
Yeah.
It's like I can't comprehend that.
Yeah.
And I hope in Andros where they farming, I believe there's a lot of them there. I mean, and every Bahamian that is listening to this show right now and that can hear me, please. Y'all don't let this happen on y'all island, man. Come on, man. We have to stop being soft. This is not only Mr. Lincoln being, this is not his fight, this is all of our fight. And it hurt my heart to see big men talking about, this is Shanty. Oh, they built all of this. And you see that? And you didn't do nothing? I mean, y'all allowing this? Oh my God! Anyway, I'm sorry. I just go crazy, and when I think about it, we don't have no fight and no drive in us, man. What happened?
Yeah.
And I'm calling on our men. I'm calling on our men, man. I don't know, but anyway, Mr. Lake, have a good night, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate your call. All right. It's amazing that you have a nation where the women are more courageous than the men. That's shocking. Let me go back to the phone line. Good evening, you're live.
Good day, Mr. Ben.
Good day.
I guess it's good day. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay, good. I just was listening to your last caller, and she kind of summed up with my sentiments, and when it comes to this leadership in this country, we're talking about uncovering a lot of these corruption, and you talk about a generation. I was in 1982 when I born. The persons who were 18, born in 1964. Okay. 40 years later, those persons who were 18, who were the baby or the youngest in the room as young adults, they allowed those who were 40 at the time, 30 at the time, 20 at the time, 50 at the time, 60 at the time, do whatever they wanted to do. And now they're keeping up with this new lie. So your generation and my generation, Lincoln, are the ones who are looking to solve the issue. Because I'm 40 and I think you're about 45. You see, and so what I'm saying is, in a unified message, when you talk about 40-year-old Hanchard and 45-year-old Lincoln, what you could agree, regardless of anything, is the fact that the people 58 right now who would have been 18 when I was born in 1982, they have to be held accountable, and they're the ones that have to stand in the front line, and they're the ones who have to say to brave, hey, we need and deserve better for the children who are me and you. But what has happened is, because they have kept themselves occupied in corruption or silence, whilst corruption goes on, you have now the baby generation, which is me and you, the Joshua, whomever, the David, the Josiahs. We are now saying that there is a call for righteous leadership, because young men like myself, we got married. I was married for 16 years. And so I have no reason to condone or even participate in evil or corruption, because I'm a righteous man. I am faithful to my one woman, and I love her dearly. And so I don't promote anything outside of God's order and his will for us on this earth. And so, yes, be commended for what you did in Briland. Yes, be commended. Because those guys, Pintard, that's true. Right? You need to disclose that information, because if Pintard is a silence patient, I need to know that so I can talk to him like a dog. See,
Why don't you? He likes to ask questions. Why don't you ask him the question? I asked him the question before on my show, but he didn't answer.
If he's a crazy man?
Yeah, if he was a silence patient.
Man, I can ask him that straight to his face when I go Parliament again on Wednesday, and I see him, because he like to come with his bully energy. I don't know if Pintard really is a man who's compassionate about the people, but his demeanor is kind of rough, and he's not welcoming. That's why young men like myself aren't gravitating to his leadership, because he's not performing at a level where he is humble enough as a man of stature and status to bring himself down to the level where the persons who may feel inferior to a successful or achievable man to say, hey, how did you do it? He's not allowing us to see victory in his leadership. And that is where, as a young man, I have to call it as I see it. And so at the end of the day, it's one man with one seat. I'm looking for government. And so that's just where I'm at. But I'll continue to provide my communication and to continue to try to influence any future directions, decisions, or actions that any one of our party leaders or party supporters see. Because at the end of the day, my communication, I ain't calling it as it is. The people is who I work into.
Thank you, my brother. I gotta run. All right. Thank you, man. Blessings.
Yes.
And so he is right. It's up to the people in their 40s who are now not young with enough life experience, but not old and have enough youthful vigor to take us with vision and experience into the next level to bring the change. That's normally what it is. Obama was in his 40s. Hubert Ingham was in his 40s. Briland got in a little early. He was 36. But you need people in that era with enough experience, etc., to take you to the next level. At the next general election, I will still be in my 40s. And that's what the Joshua generation is. Joshua was not old. Joshua was in between. And so he had the rise of the young people, and he was more experienced than them, but he was younger than the old people who died in the wilderness. He was in between. He was not old. Philip Brave Davis, you are old. Michael Pintard, you are old. And when I say old, I mean for what we need to do. The guys like yourselves need to be the coach in the court. Yes, Pintard will be 62 at the next general election. He will be in his 60s. He cuts all of his hair, so he continues to keep that youthful look, and you don't see the gray hair. But he will be 62 at the next general election, Michael Pintard. Philip Brave Davis will be 75 or 76 at the next general election. We need a new Bahamas and a new era. All right? We need a new era, a new group of people. All right? So someone's put on there that Joshua was 70. How old was Moses? Moses was twice that. So in those days, 70 was young. And remember, there was only 10 months in the year. All right. So the 12 months didn't come in for a period of time. So if Joshua was 70, he would have really been in his 50s, and he would have been half of the age of what Moses was. All right. So you have to look at everything in context. There were 10 months in the year in those days when they counted years in those days. So December, dis means 10. So October is 8. Oct is 8. November, that's 9. All right. September, that's 7. That's a 7 month. All right. December, that's 10. There were only 10 months until the Romans added January, after the god of Janus, new beginnings, and February. All right. And they put those two to the beginning instead of adding them to the end. All right. And they moved the new year from April 1st. That's where you get April Fool's Day from. And they moved the new year from April, which it was from the Bible days, because the scripture told them to put it to April, from October, where it was before the new year was before Rosh Hashanah, and they moved it to January and named it after Janus, the god of new beginnings. All right. And they played pranks on persons who wouldn't accept the new year. That's where April Fool's Day come from. They would send them on fool's errands. All right. So there's a lot to learn. But the FNM and PLP are one. They're not really fighting each other. Pintard is doing things to try to make it look like he's doing something. But if he really was the opposition, he would do something. He's not fighting them. All right. They're in this together. All right. And so I got to go now. We did over 2 hours. Thank you for joining us. Some people say, oh, Lincoln, you got to do short videos and that kind of stuff. No. This is the same as you watching a show on the radio, 2 hours, or listening to a show on the radio. This is a 2-hour show. And you can take clips from it and you can send it to your family and friends. You can bring them here to ask their questions. You can ask questions for them. And that's that. Someone says age is irrelevant. Age is relevant to the time we are in, the age where God said our days will be shorter. So Joshua's age is relevant to the time he was a young man to Moses. Yeah, he was. And age is very relevant because we have a prime minister who says that we're going to go into the digital age, but he don't have a wallet. Prime Minister David says he don't have a digital wallet. He admitted that to the public. You don't have a digital wallet, which means you don't understand this thing. My major was computer science in 2000 at Florida Memorial and business. I have vast experience in business around the world, not just in the Bahamas. My generation is ready. I studied law in England. My generation is ready to take this country into the New Bahamas. Hubert Ingram had a high school degree. That's it. Philip Brave Davis had a high school degree, never went to college. Never. They articled to become lawyer, which means you work in the office and you get experience. That's it. Someone says Brave is climate change. Sorry for that sound break just now. Someone says Brave is for climate change. Brave is not for climate change. Brave is taking that up because that's something you can take up and not offend anybody and make it look like you're interested in something good. Remember, FTX is the one who taught him that. Remember, I showed you the video where it said FTX said that you take that cause up and it's for strategy. All right. If you're about climate change, we would be going solar right now. If you're about climate change, we wouldn't have police patrolling in trucks. In trucks. We have police patrolling in over 100 trucks. And people climate change in trucks now. To burn fuel. In trucks. Bahamas. Anyway, we go live again. We go live again on Sunday. Tomorrow I'm gonna draft the letter to the Governor General for a commission of inquiry. We are also working on the paperwork for this judicial review. We have to come at it in the judicial review in the right way, and so we're getting that done. All right. So we're also going to file this thing to the Governor General, and we're going to go there and deliver that letter to him. We're going to serve it on him. Something has to happen. So hopefully Pintard will copy us. The media will pay attention to him. But we'll see what happens. All right. Thank you for all of your support. If you're just tuning in, they tried to kill us in Eleuthera. They loosed all 5 of the nuts from the vehicle. That's the wheel nuts from the vehicle that we were driving in, all 5. And they expected that to kill us, but we protected. All right, what we are can't be killed. We're an idea, and that can't be killed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. And we're going to say especially good night to the PLP government who is watching for ideas, and to the FNM government who is watching to see how they can copy us, and those who are fighting the Bahamian people. Remember, they are fighting us because we're standing between them and you, because we want you to be put first in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, change ain't coming. Change is here. Just a quick reminder of why the government put this weak, ineffective law in place that the women's movement don't agree with. When you have these kinds of people in the house, that's what you get.
That's like beating your wife or your girlfriend every time you go home. You just beat her for looking at her. I love you. Boom, boom, boom. I had a girlfriend at that, but I don't beat. She used to tell me, I love her no more because I did. But seriously, I had one like that. I had one. You know, to tell me. You know that you're joking with that. I'm serious with that. Until I get tired, man, my hands hurt a little bit. Give me a break. I'm telling you the truth. One thing I don't do is lie. That's like.
And so, in the House of Assembly, they bragged and laughed, and some of those people are still in the House, as you heard laughing there. They bragged, as Leslie Miller bragged about beating his girlfriend till his hands went tired. And they said, "We know you joking." He said, "No, I'm dead serious. Beat it till my hands get tired." You think you're going to get justice from these people? From Nygaard's lackeys? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We love you.